If you suddenly found yourself alone in the woods tomorrow, without a phone, without help, would you know how to survive? Grandpa knew 37 techniques that hardly anyone masters today, and we're showing them to you right now. One of them could literally save your life. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and have fun. Fire steel instead of a lighter. Fire is made with sparks, not with gas. A fire steel works even in rain, wind, or cold. A few strong strikes with the knife, and 3,000-degree hot sparks fly straight into the tinder. Birch bark, dry grasses, cotton, whatever smolders, burns. And when it burns, you live. Fire warms, protects, cooks, gives courage. A lighter fails when you need it most. A fire steel doesn't. Grandpa always carried it in his jacket pocket. Today, I know why. Birch bark is tinder. Grandpa always said, if you only want to know one tree, then the birch. Its bark was fire in pocket size for him. Even in a wet forest, it burned, thanks to the oils in it. Peel it thin, tear into strips, fluff it up. The finer, the better. One spark is enough, and it flares up. I still remember how he showed me how to pull the perfect bark from rotten wood, never from a living tree. He knew nature and respected it. Since then, I know, birch bark isn't just tinder. It's reliability in an unreliable environment. Tree resin, the natural tinder. Resin is gold in the forest. It sticks to injured conifers and burns like tinder on turbo. Even if it's damp, it can be ignited with sparks, embers, or a lens. We used to collect resin like other people collect mushrooms, a bit smeared on dry grass or bark, and you have a fire starter that doesn't go out so quickly. And the best part, it protects wounds, glues things together provisionally, and smells like forest childhood. When you're outside, look for trees with scars. That's where the resin flows. A small portion often suffices for great warmth. Build yourself an emergency bivouac. Grandpa always said, if you want to sleep outside like a human, you have to think like an animal. And he was right, because the first thing you need is protection. From wind, cold, rain, from the night. A slanted branch, a few twigs, lots of leaves, that's all it takes. The bivouac can be crooked as long as it's dry. The ground is important, 15 centimeters of insulation. Otherwise, the earth draws the warmth from your body. As a kid, I once spent a night in the woods without a base layer. Once. After that, I knew what Grandpa meant. A good shelter isn't luxury, it's life support. And the leaves you previously pushed aside carelessly suddenly become your best friend. Keep clothing dry, always. The worst cold doesn't come from outside. It comes with wetness. When the wind blows through damp clothing, it slowly robs you of warmth. A dry sweater can save you. A wet one becomes a trap. Back then, we knew. After chopping wood, change the sweaty shirt immediately, despite the cold. Staying wet meant risk. If you didn't have a poncho, you took a garbage bag with armholes. And at night, take off the wet socks, to the fire or under the jacket. The key to survival outside is staying dry, because cold is bearable, but wetness makes you defenseless, and that's dangerous. Shadow stick as compass. You don't need a compass to find direction. Just sun, a stick, and a bit of patience. Stick the stick vertically into the ground, mark the shadow, then wait. 15-20 minutes. The shadow moves. Second point, a line from point 1 to point 2 points from west to east. If you stand on this line, you have north in view. We tried that as kids, barefoot in the sand, just like that, and it worked. No technology, no battery, just nature. Whoever can read the sky won't stray from the path, even if there isn't one. Don't run off immediately. The biggest mistake in an emergency is just running off. Anywhere. Just movement. But whoever does that often just gets lost deeper into the unknown. Better. Stop. Breathe. Think. Where were you last? What do you hear? How is the sun positioned? The best decisions aren't made with adrenaline in your head, but with a clear view. Back then, we always sat down first when we felt unsure in the woods. Backpack off, map out, drink water. Don't make a drama out of it, but no recklessness either. Whoever marches aimlessly walks in circles. Whoever stays still often sees more. Sometimes stopping is the smartest step. Stay near your last location. Many think they have to set off immediately to find help, but whoever walks in circles only moves away from the place where they're looking for you. Back then, if someone from the group fell behind, it was, stay exactly where you were last seen. That was rule number one. That's where every search starts. Whoever stays makes themselves findable. Build a camp, set signs, clothing in the tree, smoke, a mirror flash. You're not invisible, you're there, but only if you don't run off in panic. Sometimes survival means simply waiting quietly and wisely. Follow animal tracks to water. If you don't see water, look for those who need it daily. Deer, wild boars, even birds, they all know the shortest way to the next source. Their paths are narrow but clear, well-trodden, always downhill, often accompanied by crushed grass or fresh droppings. Whoever follows such tracks usually finds not only water, but also life. Back in late summer, when we found nothing for hours, it was a deer track in the sand that led us to the spring, clear, cold, saving. The wilderness doesn't talk much, but it shows you what you need if you observe quietly enough. Collect dew with a cloth. In the early morning hours, water is everywhere. You just have to harvest it. Grass, bushes, moss, they carry the dew like a gift from the night. Take a cloth, wipe it slowly over it, wring it out into your canteen, repeat, repeat. That's how you get your water, even if no stream flows far and wide. We did that back when camping, barefoot through the damp grass, the t-shirt wrapped over the hands. It was quiet, cool, almost sacred. Whoever learns to get water from air has understood the first step to survival. Silent, simple, but effective. Disinfect water with sunlight. Sometimes you need no fire, no filter, just an empty bottle and sun. Fill a clear PET bottle, place it on the stone, full sun on it. 6 hours. The light does the rest. UV radiation kills bacteria, makes murky trust drinkable again. We did that back when fishing, when the stove failed. The bottles lay quietly in the grass, the water in them sparkled, and we knew, it works. It's not fast, not spectacular, but reliable. Whoever is out in the wilderness learns quickly. Patience is a tool. And sometimes the sun is your best ally. You just have to give it time. Pine resin as natural wound protection. If you injure yourself outside and have no ointment, no bandage, the tree helps you. More precisely, it's resin. It sticks, heals, protects, all without chemicals. Simply take fresh, light resin from an injured pine and dab it directly on the wound. It acts antibacterial, seals the skin like a protective film, and keeps dirt away. Back then, we did that with every scratch. When fetching wood, climbing, just living. The smell was familiar, resinous, bitter, soothing. Whoever gets by outside knows. Sometimes a drop of tree is enough to make nature an ally. Always have a sharp knife on you. A good knife isn't a tool. It's a survival promise. Whoever is out without a blade on the belt has already lost. You need it for carving, cutting, splitting, cooking, hunting, building. Sometimes even for making fire. And above all, it must be sharp. Dull knives slip, injure, cost strength. We practiced on the whetstone back then, until you could shave the hairs off your forearm with it. A knife replaces 10 other things. It's not an accessory, it's duty. Whoever wants to get by outside packs the blade first, and makes sure it bites. Always. Always have a multi-tool on you. Back then, we didn't carry a toolbox, just that one thing on the belt. A small wonder of steel, foldable, solid, ready. Knife, pliers, screwdriver, saw, all at the push of a finger. With it, we repaired tents, opened cans, bent hooks, tightened screws, and cut blister plasters to size. It was never spectacular, but always there when needed. In the wilderness, that's what counts. Reliability in your pocket. Not everyone carries a whole workshop around, but whoever has a good multi-tool carries a solution. And sometimes that's the difference between improvising and giving up. Master survival knots. A knot can decide everything, whether your shelter holds, your backpack survives, or your supplies hang securely. 3 are enough for starters: the bowline, which never tightens, the reef knot, when 2 ropes should become 1, and the clove hitch, quick to make, quick to untie. Back then we practiced for hours, with strings, ropes, shoelaces, not because it was duty, but because it was fun to know how. Whoever wants to improvise outside doesn't always need new material. Often a good knot suffices, and whoever masters them has a tool that weighs nothing but can do everything. Recognize edible wild plants. Whoever wants to get full outside must know the plants by name. Dandelion, nettle, sorrel. That's not weeds, that's survival food. We learned that back when roaming. What tastes bitter? What stings? What looks like food but is poison? The rules are clear. No milky sap, no bright berries, nothing you don't clearly know. And never just put it in your mouth. First smell, then touch, then wait. It's like reading without letters. You need patience. But whoever can do it carries their pantry in their head. And that's freedom, as it only grows outside. Test unknown plants with the universal test. There were days when we didn't know what was edible, but we knew how to find out. Not everything green fills you up. Some things make you quiet. That's why the test. First look, then smell, then a tiny piece on the skin, later on the lip, then chew without swallowing, and only if nothing happens at all, down it goes. Piece by piece, always with distance. That's how we learned it, when the stomach growled but the head had to stay alert. Whoever eats outside must ask before biting, because a meal sometimes decides more than just hunger. Eat insects, when it comes down to it. As a kid, I found it disgusting. Today I know insects save your day. They're quiet, everywhere, and full of protein. Ants taste slightly sour. Grasshoppers crunch like chips if you remove wings and legs. Beetle larvae are fatty but nutritious. Important. Always cook thoroughly, otherwise your stomach starts trembling. We collected them under stones, in rotten wood, at the edge of the fire pit. No fun, no delicacy, just emergency ration. But when your belly is empty and your head still clear, the disgust suddenly becomes secondary. What matters is energy, and that sometimes crawls right in front of you through the leaves. Build an improvised fishing rod. A quiet lake, a branch in hand, and the stomach growls. Time to get creative. You don't need much. A flexible stick, some line, a hook from wire or wood, a worm as bait. Nothing more. We fished with shoelaces back then, with a safety pin as hook. And yes, it worked. Fish are cautious but hungry. They love shadows, roots, movement in the water. So stay calm, observe. Don't twitch. When the bite comes, you feel it right in your hand. No high-tech, no luxury, just you, the line, and the hope for a dinner with bones. Garlic or onion against insects. If the mosquitoes are eating you up and you have no spray, then the kitchen smell helps. Have an onion. Rub the juice on arms and neck. The buzzing stays away. Garlic works too. Intense, penetrating, effective. We threw onions into the fire back then so the smoke protected the camp. It smelled like stew, but no mosquito stayed. Of course, you stink a bit, but you do that when surviving anyway. Important is, it works, and it's everywhere. What brings tears to your eyes brings farewell to the insects, all without chemicals. Learn to walk silently. In the forest, the loudest is always the dumbest. Whoever rustles betrays themselves. Whoever cracks scares away. Silent walking is an art, but no magic. Set the outer edge of your foot down first, then roll slowly to the inside. Knees slightly bent, step by step like a fox. Pause, listen, continue. We practiced that, barefoot through damp moss, over root paths, between dry leaves. It wasn't about camouflage, it was about feeling, about becoming one with the ground. Because whoever moves silently becomes part of the landscape, and whoever is part of it isn't hunted, they hunt. With a head start. Hunt with the sling. A Y-fork from hazel, 2 rubber bands, and a piece of leather. That's all it takes. The sling is quiet, light, and deadly if you know how. We knocked cans off the fence back then, collected stones, aimed, hit. Later it was pigeons, sometimes a rabbit. You need calm, eye, feeling. No noise, no powder, just tension and release. Ideal for small prey when you have no weapon. And the best? The ammo lies everywhere. Whoever has learned to hunt with a sling carries their hunting tool in their pocket. Duct tape. The gray wonder. When something breaks outside, duct tape is often the last rescue. It patches tents, repairs backpacks, replaces shoelaces. We even patched a shoe with it once, which held the whole march. It sticks to wood, fabric, skin. In an emergency, it becomes a bandage, a splint, or rain protection. Wrapped around the stick, it takes hardly any space, but when you need it, you don't want to miss it. The silver roll was always in the backpack, right next to the knife. Because it was clear, when nothing holds anymore, duct tape holds, and sometimes you too, when you're about to fall apart. Firewood from the tree, not from the ground. When everything is wet, look for the dry up high. Wood on the forest floor is often soaked, even if it hasn't rained. But dead branches still hanging in the lower tree crowns, that's gold. We called them kindling in waiting position back then. You break them off, they snap dry, and that's what you want to hear. Often a glance up is enough and you find plenty for a small fire. Never swing the axe blindly, but look, feel, hear. Because whoever chooses the right wood doesn't fight the wetness. They bypass it, and that can decide. Use smoke as an emergency signal. Sometimes a spark is enough to be seen. No shout, no whistle, just smoke. Thick, white, and rising. We learned back then, 3 smoke columns in a row mean help. The fire for it doesn't have to be big, just controlled. First dry wood for embers, then damp grass or fresh branches on top. The smoke does the rest, best from a clearing or hill where it's visible far. If you cover the fire briefly, it creates a pulse, like optical Morse code. Quiet, but clear. And whoever sees such a signal knows. Someone out there is waiting, and they mean it seriously. Sandpaper in the match container. A match is only as good as its striking surface, and that goes faster than you think, in rain, humidity, or just through wear. That's why we always glued a piece of sandpaper into the lid. Coarse, dry, reliable. Even if the box was soaked, the thing still ignited. A small spark, that's all it takes. And that's what it's for. When everything is damp, the wind whistles, and you still need fire. No luxury, no high-tech, just a piece of sandpaper. Quiet, unobtrusive, but there when it counts. And that often makes the decisive difference in an emergency. Leaves as insulation in clothing. If you're freezing and have nothing left, collect leaves. Dry leaves, no wet, no rotten, and stuff them between shirt and jacket into pant legs under the hat. It crinkles, it rustles, but it warms. We did that back when camping, when the sleeping bag was too thin. The air in the leaves holds the heat, better than you think. You look like a walking compost heap, but you wake up warm. And that's what it's about. Not about style, not about comfort, but about enduring until the sun comes back. Quite simple. Mud as natural sunscreen. If the sun is mercilessly beating down on your neck and no shadow in sight, only one thing helps. Down to the river, hands in the mud, and on with it. Thick, cool, covering. Mud acts like armor against UV rays. Not perfect, but better than turning red. We did that when fishing, hours in the blazing heat, with nothing but mud on our arms. It dries, might crack a bit, but protects until then. If you think like a wild animal, you survive outside. And that's what makes it. Blink for your life, the signal mirror. Back then, in the summer sun over the ridge, someone showed me how to greet the mountains with an old tin lid. Not for fun, for survival. A simple mirror, a blank piece of metal, or even the phone display. When the sun shines on it, you can send light flashes kilometers away. Toward the valley, toward the sky. Maybe a pilot sees the reflection. Maybe a hiker. You aim with your thumb, target with the light, and hope someone looks somewhere. So simple, so effective. In the wilderness, you need no sound. You need a sign. And this is one of the best. Master Basic First Aid. Back then, if you injured yourself, no ambulance came. You had to act yourself. A shirt became a bandage, cold water help. In the wilderness, first aid isn't extra, it's duty. Whoever knows how to stop blood, splint sprains or recognize shock has better chances. Not heroic, but practical. A few grips, some knowledge, that can decide. Sometimes a bandage is more than just fabric, it's a plan. Mud as sunscreen. No shadow far and wide. The sun burns on your neck and you feel your skin tightening. Whoever has no sunscreen in their backpack now thinks quickly or suffers. Mud, as simple as it sounds, is a real shield. Applied thickly, it covers the skin like armor, cools, protects, and keeps UV radiation away. If it dries, it crumbles, but until then you've gained time. Time to keep going, not to burn, to find a cool spot. It's no trick. It's knowledge that lies in the earth. You just have to pick it up. The vitamin C tea from the spruce. If you're alone in the woods and feel your strength waning, no granola bar helps, but an ancient trick does. Spruce needle tea. The young green needles of spruce or fir contain surprisingly much vitamin C. Simply crush a few, pour hot, not boiling water over them, let steep. The resinous taste may take getting used to, but the effect is worth gold. The tea warms, protects from infections, and gives new energy. In a world without pharmacies, this is your natural immune system, fresh from the tree without packaging. Clarity from dirt, your self-built water filter. Imagine you find a stream, but the water looks like gravy. You shouldn't drink that first, but don't just walk away either. So build a filter with what's there. An old bottle, some fabric, charcoal from the fire, sand, and a few stones. Layer by layer, like digging at the river back then. Dirty water in at the top, hope out at the bottom. Not perfect, but better than death by thirst or diarrhea. This isn't a craft project, it's survival, and once you've done it, you never forget it. The trap sets itself. You can of course chase through the woods for hours with a pointed stick and growling stomach, or let the work do itself. A simple snare on the game trail, a pit camouflaged with leaves, a bent branch as spring. Traps are like silent helpers. They never sleep. They hunt without noise. While you fetch water or rest, they wait. And sometimes a frog waits in it. A mouse, maybe even a bird. No hunting success with trumpets, just function. And that's what it's about out there. Not surviving beautifully, but at all. Fire from light, when you only have the sun. No lighter, no matches, just the sun above you and hunger in your belly. Then it gets exciting. With a magnifying glass, eyeglass lens, or even a condom filled with water, you can bundle light, not into the void, onto dry tinder. Birch bark, grass, even a piece of tissue. A small ember point forms if you hold it steady. Then blow, slowly, gently. Suddenly, life flickers up. Warmth, security, a signal. Everything starts with a sunbeam and some patience. Whoever has done it once sees trash differently, and sunlight no longer just as light, but as ignition's spark. Moss instead of sleeping pad warmth from the forest floor. You lie at night in the self-built shelter. The ground is cold. The chill creeps into your bones. Now no sleeping bag saves you, but moss does. Thickly collected, placed under you, stuffed into jacket and shoes, it becomes a heat wall between you and the frost. It crinkles, it rustles, but it warms. We did that back when camping, when the sleeping bag was too thin. The air in the leaves holds the heat, better than you think. You look like a walking compost heap, but you wake up warm. And that's what it's about. Not about style, not about comfort, but about enduring until the sun comes back. Quite simple. Charcoal from the fire for wounds, water, and teeth. When the fire has burned down, often more than just ash remains. Charcoal. Back then, we didn't just draw with it, but learned what it can do. For diarrhea, a teaspoon of crushed charcoal stops it, better than any pill. Wrapped in gauze, it cleans water. And if you cut yourself, you can put fine charcoal on the wound. It binds dirt and helps with drying. Even as tooth powder usable. In the embers lies power, all without chemicals. Whoever sees charcoal only as waste overlooks an old helper. Fresh from the tree, no, wait, from the fire actually. But effective. That was 37 survival hacks, simple, clever, often forgotten. Maybe you'll never need them. Maybe they'll save your life. If you liked the video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and write in the comments, which hack sticks in your head? Nature doesn't ask for degrees, only if you're ready. Stay alert, stay alive. Until next time.